So I'm going to need a little bit of audience participation. So when I point like this, if you can make fart noises, that would be useful. So it's 2009, and this is the first time that my immediate family has gathered in 9 years. And my mom's in the driver's seat, and my dad's in the passenger seat. And I have to squeeze into the back seat of my mom's CRV to sit right between my two fat heroin addict brothers. There is such a thing as a fat heroin addict. In the Hollywood movies, they only show you the skinny heroin addicts, probably because there's nothing less sexy than a fat heroin addict. Unless the fat heroin addict happens to be your brother, in which case I have two of them. So I go to sit between my brothers, and immediately this memory is triggered of when we were in grade school, and I sat between them in the car seat. And my older brother on the left-hand side, Bill, said out of nowhere, "Left ball." And my younger brother, Joe, on the right-hand side said, "Right ball." And then they both said, "Left ball, right ball, who's the dick in the middle?" And they both just started like pummeling me, you know. And after that, that is the treatment in my family car that was given to whoever had the middle of the seat. And it was so traumatic that even at this point, at age 39, like I really did want to be the dick in the middle. But I would be willing to be the sacrificial dick if I would be able to get my brothers to like crack a smile, because there's some pretty good reasons that my family hasn't been together in 9 years. And, you know, I'd really like to make the joke and connect with my brothers, but in my family, humor is kind of this boys club thing. It's this kind of this no girls allowed thing. And in my family, I'm not funny enough. So being not funny enough started pretty early for me. We grew up in the mid-1970s in a Central Phoenix neighborhood where kids learned to cuss proficiently by like age 6 or 7. So if you asked another little kid what time it was, that kid would say, "Half past a monkey's ass, a quarter to his balls," like that. And, you know, even back then I got way too philosophical about it. I'd be like, wait a minute, is half past a monkey's ass really a quarter to his balls? You know, I just learned how to tell time, and that monkey clock geography just didn't add up. And my other problem was that I could not make artificial fart noises. So, you know, my younger brother Joe, 11 months younger than me, you know, he had these crooked front teeth, and he'd scrunch up his face, and he would look like he was disgusted by his own fart noises, you know, and it was great. And so he'd say, "Diarrhea, diarrhea. People think it's funny, but it's really dark and runny, diarrhea." He'd also do the lesser-known second verse, which was, "Diarrhea, diarrhea. People think it's gross, but it's really good on toast." And I'd look at him and I'd be like, wow, I wish I could make fart noises like that. Eventually, in our teen years, Joe and Bill joined forces. So they formed this comedic duo in order to deal with my angry dad. So when we were in grade school, you know, my dad's rampages could be pretty scary. But when we were in high school and we just smoked a couple of bowls of dirt weed out of a pipe made out of a carrot, at that point, watching a grown man throw a tantrum could be pretty damn funny. And so this was the point when my brothers stopped calling my dad Dad, and they started calling him Mad Dog Mike. So there'd be like this commentary for the tantrums. It would be my brothers going, "Oh man, Mad Dog Mike, he's about to blow. Mad Dog Mike, he's got steam coming out of his ears," you know? And then they started pulling these weird little pranks just to piss him off. So Joe would turn off his stereo, but then crank the volume knob all the way up. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, he'd hit the power button and let it on for like 5 seconds so that Mad Dog Mike will wake up and he won't know why. my dad would have to like clean the clog pipe. And this whole pot smoker humor went on into our early 20s, to the point that when my dad had a birthday, my brothers were like, let's get Mad Dog something off the clearance rack at the head shop. So they got him this t-shirt that looked exactly like what you would see on the clearance rack at the head shop. And so it had this image of this blonde-haired woman with really big breasts wearing a chainmail bikini that kind of showed off her nipples. And she was riding side saddle on a dinosaur. It was a really goofy-looking dinosaur, too. It was kind of like trotting along with these little webbed feet. It had a little forked tongue flicking out, and you know, the entire sky was purple with this toxic green cloud hanging over it. And my dad started wearing that t-shirt everywhere. I was the only one that noticed that my dad really liked wearing that shirt when we had to be with him in public. He wore it to my college graduation. And so in 1998, this line of humor stopped because my brothers renounced the marijuana, and they were sober, and they dealt with the stress of sobriety with a combination of comedy and self-righteousness. So when they weren't like eating brown rice or lifting weights, they'd talk about how glad they were to be off the pot, and it would go something like this. Joe would say, marijuana, it's a girl's drug. It will literally turn a hippie guy into a chick. And then Bill would say, you think that sound is the gurgle of the bong, but it's really your Y chromosome's desperate cry for help. Better get a training bra or the Summer's Eve starter kit. Yeah, you can douche your ass for practice. Say hello to your new vagina, hippie. It'll probably talk back. Hey, it'll talk to you when no one else will. And then like this routine would go on like 5 times a day, you know, and I'd be standing there like, guys, what's wrong with having a vagina? You know? And I'd be like, okay, they're sexist bastards, but at least they're sober. And then the humor took this subtle shift, you know, and Joe would say heroin, and Bill would say China White, and they'd be like, that's a man's drug. And I really thought they were still joking. So it's 2009, and we parked the CRV at Ajo Al's, which is this overpriced Mexican food restaurant in Scottsdale. And I don't really like Ajo Al's, but you know, Joe finally got off the heroin, and he's on methadone, and it's his 38th birthday, so he gets to pick the restaurant. And we go in, and we're heading for this booth, and the dick in the middle thing just starts happening again, except for this time my parents are involved too, because everybody's trying to get the outer seats on the booth. You know, it's like this mentality, you know, if I'm gonna have to flee the family, I wanna be the first one out, you know. So, of course, I get stuck in the middle again, and we quietly order our fajitas, and I really miss my brother's banter. You know, the only attempt at comedy the whole evening is at one point my brother Joe comes up to me, and he's holding his stomach, and he says, Molly, wish me luck in the bathroom. I've been kind of backed up. And maybe it's just me, but like a 38-year-old opiate addict joking about constipation is just not as funny as an 8-year-old joking about diarrhea. And neither joke is really appropriate when you're trying to eat a plate of refried beans. So finally the check comes, and I'm sitting there with my family, and I'm thinking, well, this has been a pretty hopeless event, you know. But then I look at my dad, and I realize he's wearing that t-shirt. He's wearing the t-shirt with the woman with the chainmail bikini and the goofy dinosaur. And I think to myself, well, my college graduation was 1993, so this shirt is 16 years old. But it's in pristine condition. It's not faded at all. The woman in the chainmail bikini looks as buoyant and perky as ever. And I realize Mad Dog has been preserving this weird little shirt. And it's this gesture that I kind of appreciate. I think, I don't think he's worn this shirt in 9 years since Joe's been gone from the family. And to me, it's this message to my brothers that says, go ahead, make me the butt of your jokes, make me Mad Dog Mike, but, come back to the family and stop hurting yourself. And I would like to tell this to my brothers, but I'm just a girl, and I can't make a joke out of it. So I can only hope that at some point, left ball or right ball, will be checking out the woman in the chainmail bikini, and he'll wonder why, after all these years, she's still looking so damn good.